My name is Langston 2092, and this is the mini-series called Fast Money, Women, and My Life, Part 4. So, I'm looking at out my window, and there's 2 carloads of guys, and I can see, who's in the car. Not all of them, but I can see who's in the car. And it's Roger, Chris, and it's about 3 other dudes that's in one car. And then the second car that was following them, it's like about 4 other dudes. And I know that they were looking for me. Now in Durham, North Carolina, it's kind of like a rough place. So did I think Roderick would do something to me? Like he would shoot at me? No. Because he was a bully, but he wasn't a shooter, right? But I know for sure that out of those 2 carloads, there definitely was 1 or 2 people that would have shot me. So it's not like I left it's not like I left North Carolina strictly because of them. One is I was able to, get my high school diploma. So I was like, there's no need for me to be here. 2 is I got tired of the South, and I told y'all in, I think, part 1 that I've been tired of the South. Like the first year I got here, I wanted to leave. But my mother had custody over me and I couldn't leave. So now I'm a young adult. I have my adult high school diploma so I can get a job. And then on top of that, I got this heat where these dudes are looking for me. And I know eventually, and I continue to say this, Durham, North Carolina is very small. You're going to bump into to someone. You got beef with somebody, you're going to bump into them. One day, it may not be Monday, it may not be Tuesday, it may not be next week, it may not be next month, but it's definitely going to be about 3 to 4 months later. So I left. And when I left, I really didn't have too much money. I had like a lot of clothes for the summer, but I wasn't prepared for New York winter. And the first day I got there, my father picked me up from the bus station, and it's usual. I go there for the summers. I've been there for holidays such as Christmas, Thanksgiving. It's the usual thing. Like it's not like I'm not used to this. I'm familiar with the block. I have friends that's there. I have family, so it's not like it's a culture shock. Like I'm used to it. So I get there, and my father lays down the rules. He says, "Yo, either you're gonna get a job, or you're gonna go to college." Now, at the time, I wasn't trying to go to college, but I definitely was trying to make some money. So, I would do little odd jobs and stuff like that. I went to a temporary service called Manpower that's located in Manhattan, and they put me on to this job working for Brooks Brothers in Brooklyn, New York. And I never forget, I stayed there for a couple months because it was temporary. It wasn't for long term. I stayed there for a couple months, so we're packaging up jackets and slacks and pants and stuff like that Brooks Brothers would sell, and it was in a big warehouse. And I never forget, every close to our shift ending, we would have about 10 to 15 minutes to just chill on the clock. And every day, me and this Mexican kid, we would just look out the window, and we had a great view of Manhattan. And we would just look out the window and just stare. And you could see the wanting to be accepted, the wanting to be someone in life in our eyes. But then it's the knowing that it's impossible that whatever we're dreaming about, whatever we're thinking about, that more than likely we won't be able to achieve. So just as distant as Manhattan was, that's how distant we felt it would be in our life to achieve the so-called American dream. So, I continued to work that job, and then eventually my father got me a job at Airborne Express. And the address was, 33rd East 33rd Street. And what I had to do every day, I had to catch the dollar van from on the corner of Baisley Park Projects all the way to Jamaica Avenue, catch the E train, get off at 51st Street and Lexington Avenue, walk upstairs and catch the number 6 and get off at 33rd Street, and then walk across the street, and then Airborne Express was right there. And the amount of time that I spent getting to the job was damn near like 2.5 hours. And taking heat, I was only working for like 5 hours. I was like working from, it was like 3 to 7 or 3 to 8 or something like that. But it was crazy, I would do that. And then, my father, I guess he did the best he could. I got there and he got me a job, and that's all he could do. That's all he was good for, just making sure that I'm working for someone. But not so much working for myself, not so much being an entrepreneur. He couldn't provide that information and knowledge to me, because all he knew was working. At that time, he was working 2 jobs, and it was like I hardly ever seen him. My stepmom, same thing. I hardly ever saw her. So I had to be totally independent. Like cooking, she only cooked 1 time out of the week, and that was on Sunday. So, of course, it was Chinese food restaurants, bodegas, junk food, all types of stuff. At that time, I wasn't no vegetarian. I was a meat eater. And I was into hip-hop, and, hanging out. And I've had my days where I hung out on Jamaica Avenue, and it was like at that time, the 90s, the early 90s, it was an exciting time. Now, what I'm about to say to you, some people may say, that's not fun, or that's not this, or that's not that, and you're dwarfed in the head. Yeah, at that time, I was dwarfed in the head. But it was fun to me, like, drinking a 40-ounce bottle and down Jamaica Avenue, and nobody not really saying nothing because there's no cops there at the time. This is pre 9/11. Now, it's cops everywhere. But you got to do what you wanted to do, and Jamaica Avenue was such an exciting, place to be, And I never forget, I got my hair twisted for the first time in Gertz Mall in New Tribe, if you're familiar with that. And I remember going to the Coliseum, now taking heed. You people, you millennials don't know what the Coliseum was like in the 90s. Oh, it was lit. You would buy your clothes there, you would buy your jewelry and all of that, but then they had an arcade too. And I never forget, they had a picture of Luke, Uncle Luke from, what was it? What's the name of that? 2 Live Crew. He was getting fellatio on stage, and they had a picture of it hung up on a wall. And they had like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, all the, hot arcade games at the time. And it was just such an exciting time. I mean, Nas' album came out, Wu-Tang album came out, The Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, Biggie's first album came out, Wu-Tang's album came out, and they made Ice Cream, and they recorded Ice Cream right there at the Coliseum on Jamaica Avenue. It was just exciting, man. It was exciting. And there was no Gold's Gym, there was no movie theater, there was no Old Navy. All that stuff was a parking lot, if you're familiar with Jamaica Avenue. And then like right by New Tribe, above New Tribe, they had a record store. It's not there anymore. But it was just, man, it was an exciting time, man. And I remember Like before I started working and buying my own clothes, that's when I started getting, straight. But when I first got there, my father bought me some clothes. And I never forget it, man. I was pissed off, right? He bought me like, okay, so that stuff that you can get at Walmart, the Fruit of the Loom, you can get like a jogging suit and it's all one color. So if you buy like a green jogging suit, it's the green sweater with the green pants. He bought me like about 4 sets of those joints. And I'll never forget, I went to Skate Key with my cousin, my stepsister, right? And I'm telling you, this is how free New York was prior to 9/11 and Giuliani. So they smoking reefer weed on the train on the way to Skate Key. And they like, yo, you want something? I'm like, nah. At that time I wasn't smoking. So we get the Skate Key, right? Now in the process of, we going to Skate Key, my stepsister's schooling me. She's like, yo, you can't be wearing that shit you got on. And I'm like, yo, my father bought this stuff for me. And I didn't have no winter clothes. I had summer clothes. My summer clothes were pretty decent. At that time I had the cross colors, the Carcanines, and the Mecca, all that stuff, the black, clothing lines, all of that. But I didn't have no winter clothes, especially for, New York. So we get to the Skate Key and she's like, look at everybody. Now look at you. And I'm looking like, dang, I'm looking busted, man. I got this green sweater, on, right? And I had some regular jeans on. I forgot what kind of sneakers I had. I forgot. All I know, and then I had a leather jacket, but it was like a leather jacket that my father had, and he just gave it to me. And you know how important leather jackets are in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has one. And if you not only have one, you got about 5 or 6 of them, if not more than that. But anyway, I'm sitting here looking, and I'm like, man, I got to get my act together. Now this is prior to me, working for Brooks Brothers and Airborne Express. Within that process, I was buying clothes and sneakers and all the rest of that stuff. So, I'm sitting there and I'm observing everything, and next thing you know, a fight breaks out, and these fools start throwing skates at one another. Skates. Now like, I'm talking about, so you go skating, right? And you rent those brown skates that's hard on the bottom and got metal and all of that. They start throwing that. I see blood. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I got to get up out of here. So, months go by, whatever have you. I'm working at Airborne Express. I'm making money and all the rest of that. So I have 2 stepsisters. The second stepsister, she had a boyfriend. I'm gonna call her boyfriend News. News used to come through. He was Haitian. He used to come through, right? And I would be like, yo, this dude is fly. I mean, the Air Maxes, the Air Force Ones, the Jordans, all of that. He had all of them. You know what I mean? And he knew how to dress. You know what I'm saying? So I would always respect him. Like, yo, man, you looking fly today. Now here I am. I'm getting off of work. I got my Airborne Express. It's like this whole jacket. This one. It's a onesie like. But they provided it. The job provided it because it winters is crazy. So I got mad layers of clothes on. I got my Tim boots on. Because I'm Airborne Express, I'm delivering mail. So I'm going, walking all the way to Grand Central Station and the Empire State Building. I'm delivering mail all in that area. Madison Avenue, all of that, right? And I'm going to, different businesses. And it's crazy. That's when I first found out that, I'm going to get back to News. That's when I first found out about, these places, these businesses like Ralph Lauren, Polo. They got these offices and they got waterfalls. I mean, just crazy stuff. Inside gyms and all types of stuff. Because I had to deliver the mail to them. And packages, pick up packages, drop off packages. And that was another time when I was like, yo, I see the difference between the black man's lifestyle and the white man's lifestyle. So, getting back to news, here I am. I got my Airborne Express jacket on and layers of clothes. That onesie I was talking about, the Airborne onesie joint. I wish I took pictures of that, man. But anyway, here I am. I'm getting off of work. I'm tired, you know, and I'm sitting back and I'm saying to myself, man, I didn't really sign up for this. Like, I wanted to go to New York, but I wanted to party as well. You know what I'm saying? So here I am. I'm coming back from work. I got the usual beef and broccoli. I don't even know if it's beef and broccoli. I'm pretty sure I got the cat, dog, and broccoli with fried rice at the Chinese food restaurant. And you know, I'm looking at him. I'm like, wow, man, you fly. And he's like, yeah, you know, da 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 da. And his girl, my stepsister, he always, you know, had her fly too. So one day I was like, yo, man, I ain't trying to be funny, but you don't work. I knew he cut hair, but it wasn't like, you know, at that point in time, eventually he got his own shop. But at that point in time, he was just cutting hair here and there. I'm like, yo, how are you doing it? And he was like, yo, man, I mean, you could do it too. I'm like, word? You know, he had everything. He had Eddie Bauer, Nautica, Tommy Hilfiger, and whatever name brand he wore it from head to toe. So if he had Nautica, he had the Nautica jacket, the Nautica jeans, the Nautica shirt, the boots, all that. If it was Tommy, if it was Polo, it was Tommy from head to toe. Period. And this is a side note, yo. Let me tell y'all something, man. You can't knock New Yorkers when it comes to that, man. New Yorkers are the flyest on the planet. On the planet. That plain and simple. Let me get back to what I had to say. So he talking, he like, yo, man, you know, I go in, you know, I go in different stores, you know, and we boost clothes. And I'm like, oh, for real? He's like, yeah, you know, we go to Green Acres Mall, we go to Roosevelt Field in Long Island, we go to Jamaica Avenue, we might go to Vim's. Nah, we don't go to Vim's. I remember he didn't say that. Vim's is like corny. They got it's like they got clothes like Brooklyn Express. But anyway, he was like, we go to Dr. J's, Modell's. He mentioned somewhere else. I don't think S&D's was out at that time, if I'm not mistaken. But it probably was. So he was like, yo, you know, we go in there and basically we have like 3 people running it. You know, one person is out the lookout, the other person is dumping the clothes in the bag, and the dude with the bag is walking out with it. So he was like, yo, man, you can actually be the dude to walk out with the bag. And I'm like, I'm trying to say, like, okay, hold on. I kind of get what he's saying. You understand? But it's like, I'm asking him, so let me get this right. So I'm going to be the only one walking out with the bag while you other dudes are not walking out with anything? He's like, yeah. I'm like, nah, that's all right, man. That's all right. I was born in New York. I lived in New York for years. I got family and all the rest of that. I'm a half-breed. I'm a New Yorker and a Southerner. I spent time in both states. But at the end of the day, you're not going to play me like that. You're just not. You're just not. I caught on to it. You're not going to play me like that. If I'm going down, everybody's going down. Period. Now, I'm not no snitch. I'm not saying that if I got caught, I would snitch on them. I'm just saying that if I'm going to get in trouble, everybody's going to get in trouble. All our hands are going to get dirty. So I left that alone. But in the back of my mind, I was like, you know what? I can form my own team and do my own thing in North Carolina. Because one thing I saw when I would go to these stores, such as Dr. J's, you had to leave your bags at the door with the doorman. And there was surveillance everywhere. So it was damn near impossible for you to steal in there. And when you got caught stealing in New York, You might as well have had crack on you. It was just that plain and simple. So I had that in the back of my mind. You know what? I never really saw cameras. I never, when you go into these stores in North Carolina at that time in the 90s, you didn't have to leave your bags anywhere. You could bring bags with you and all the rest of that, right? So I'm still working or whatever. I get in contact with my cousin Toya. She's from Tompkins Projects, but her mother and her moved to Long Island, Glen Clove, Long Island. Now I'm sitting here, I'm busting my tail every day, working, and I'm not having any fun. So Toya told me to come to Long Island. So I came to Long Island, and she had a friend. I'm gonna call her friend Tricky ad. Tricky's butt was so beautiful. It was amazing. Here we go. I'm running into these females. Oh my God, the body is fine. Her breast wasn't that great or whatever, but the butt was straight. She liked me. So the first day I got there, Tricky had left, and it was just me and my cousin and I. And she was like, "Yo, you smoke weed?" I'm like, "Nah." So she was like, "Nah, you gonna smoke tonight?" And I'll never forget it. In her room, she had lights, Christmas lights all over the walls, right? And she turned them on, and she showed me how to roll a blunt. And I did the best I could. And then I was pulling it, and she was like, "Nah, you can't. You gotta pull it slow and pull it into your in your lungs and hold it, and then blow it out." And then she was like, "Let me show you how to do a shotgun." She said, "Put your hands like this, cuff your hands, both of your hands like this, and I'm gonna turn the blunt around in my mouth, and I'm gonna blow it, and you inhale it." And she did that, and I was done. Here I am, I'm sitting looking at the lights, and I'm in a daze, laughing and all of that. And the weed, the marijuana was so beautiful. It was wonderful. It was something that, it was the next thing to Punani. And I just enjoyed the night, and I was like, wow, man, here I am in New York, and this is weed, this is marijuana, yes. So it's crazy because Toya's mother would leave us for the whole weekend. She would leave Thursday and come back like Sunday to go to work. And she would go upstate to have her conjugal visits with her man that was in jail. And here you have, I'm 19, Toya 18. Here you have two young adults that have the house to themselves from Thursday to Sunday, and it was bananas. We were getting beer, we were smoking almost every weekend. I mean, Toya was doing it every day, but I was like, you know what? Of course I had to go to work. So I would get there, I would have to catch the Long Island Railroad. So I would leave work, and I would leave work and then catch the Long Island Railroad on Friday night. And I would get there, it was about 8, 9, 10, something like that. She stayed in Glen Clove, Long Island. And, I would stay there from Friday to Sunday because, of course, Monday through Friday I would work. So, man, I was just having a ball just going over there every weekend. And eventually, you know what happened. Nikki, offered, and I definitely took her up on her offer. Point blank, period. So, I knocked that out. And now it's like, now my father's wondering, because I ain't telling him nothing. I'm just going to work Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, don't nobody know where I'm at. But it's like, I got two things. I have two big reasons why I'm going to Glen Clove, Long Island. One is the Two is the marijuana. I was addicted. I'm going to end it right there. My name is Langston 2092. In order for me to grow, in order for this channel to be one of the best channels on YouTube, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need you to share the video. I'm going to need you to like the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Stay tuned for part 5. 1.